Paul was one of the Pharisees who had Jesus crucified.
Right.
So he was the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Taliban now,
He had no
coming over to our
incentive
side kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And it says on the Damascus Road, he's going to arrest and kill Christians. He was there when Stephen was martyred, given two thumbs up, because Stephen believed in Jesus as the Messiah. And he's like, that's wrong. We're getting rid of these people. When on the Damascus Road, this brilliant God of light appears to him. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
All over the world today. This is near-death experiences.
Yeah.
Who are you, Lord? He asked. And he says, I am Jesus, whom you're persecuting. And Jesus didn't tell him the gospel. He didn't tell him what to do. He said, you'll be told. And then later sends Ananias to explain to him. And Paul still had a choice because he had a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Is he going to leave behind his power and his prestige and, and then suffer? Because he did.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
It's huge, absolutely huge. And no incentive to do that. But what's also interesting is after he became the Apostle Paul, he became friends with many of the disciples, the other eyewitnesses. So he knew Peter, James, and John. Right. And he says in 1 Corinthians, in his letter he wrote, he said, whether it is I or they, this is what we preach. So he's saying, look, I encountered the risen Christ. So have they. So he's confirming that the disciples were eyewitnesses. He's another point of confirmation. The third area of evidence, corroboration, is the book of Acts. Even skeptical scholars will accept that the book of Acts is the account of the spread of the early church. And what is the thing that drove it? It was a proclamation of the resurrection. So here we have Peter in Acts chapter 2, who gets up before a crowd, and he says, men of Israel, listen to these words. This Jesus, a man attested to you by miracles and wonders and signs, which he did in your midst. You know that he did. He's appealing to their common knowledge. And then he says, this Jesus God raised from the dead, to which we're all witnesses. And how did they react? History tells us that 3,000 people said, Peter, we know you're telling us the truth. What do we do? They repented, and the church was born. So that's the first three sources. Then we have the next four sources, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are historical biographies based on eyewitness accounts. There's, 9 appearances of the risen Jesus in those 4 Gospels. So that's 7 ancient sources. But then...
Plus you got Luke, who interviewed Mary.
Oh, yeah, there's other sources,
others, yeah.
right. But we have sources from people who sat under the teachings of the eyewitnesses.